First of all, good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to today's fourth RFC Network and RELNet Europe session. This time a little bit different setup than the first three sessions. So what is the difference? The first three sessions were aimed in general at the customers and business partners of the rail freight corridor, so both for the RAC and DAC members. Today's session is really aimed and focused more on the members of the terminal advisory groups of the corridors. And so is also the subject of today's session, where we will focus on the Rail Facilities Portal, a tool operated in a joint cooperation of RELNet Europe and UIRR. Also, a little difference to the original setup of the meeting and plan. These sessions are typically led and moderated by the actual chairman of the RFC network, which is typically a managing director or a chairman of a managing board of a rail freight corridor. This was not possible today, as there was a last-minute parallel session organized by European Commission. And the subject of this parallel session was quite essential. It was about safeguarding the financing of the rail freight corridors for the coming years. Therefore, the managing directors, including the actual chairman of the network, had to excuse themselves. And that is also to explain why I myself, Miloslav Kogler from RELNet Europe, am moderating this session today and supporting my colleagues from RELNet Europe as well as the colleagues from UIRR in guiding you through this session. We seem to be not such a big group today, a little bit more than 20 participants, but still to have a good meeting experience. We very much very kindly ask you to follow very simple meeting guidelines. That means if you are in the meeting and you are not speaking, please keep your microphone muted and your video disabled. We have planned for a handful of sessions, and after each session there will be a room for questions to be asked and answers to be provided. For that, please use the raise hand button and I will give the floor to you. When you will be given the floor, please activate your micro and video, and after you have finished your intervention, turn it off again. If it should be the case that we don't have enough time to address your question, please post it in the chat, and we will try to come back to it later or answer it afterwards. So with that being said, there is one last administrative measure I would like to make you aware of. For the internal purposes, we will be recording this meeting, but this time we do not plan to publish the recording afterwards. For those who are interested, we can share a protected link just to gain access to the recording with that particular link. With that being said, we have finished the introduction to the meeting, and I would hand over straight to my colleague Jean-Marc Hillenberg, the senior sales manager at RELNet Europe and also the one in charge of Rail Facilities Portal, for providing us a live demonstration of this application. Jean-Marc, the floor is yours. And please, you still have...
Yeah. Thank you, Miloš, and a warm welcome from my side as well. My name is Jean-Marc Hillenberg, Senior Sales Manager at RELNet Europe. And today we want to present you Rail Facilities Portal and its capabilities, because we think it's a very unique tool and maybe you have heard of it, but maybe you only know bits of it. And for this very reason, we plan to, first of all, show you a little introductory video about it. Then I will be a little bit talking about the benefits of this, which are really, really great. This will be followed by a short description of where we are in the current situation from my colleague Mateusz Novak from UIR. And then we will have also of the users, which we already have a dozen, or lots of actually, but we picked out some of those who really also wanted to contribute today, how they are experiencing Rail Facilities Portal. This will be Asa Westin from Badenor and Paul Kronenberger from CFL Terminal. Well, to start off, just let me introduce, it's a very short video, around 2.5 minutes, which I would like to share with you. Mateusz, if you might just share the video.
Sure, I will then share my screen. Although I think it might be on the next slide because I think it was integrated in the whole presentation. If I'm wrong, I have it ready on my side.
Just to make it full screen.
Seems the video is there, but the play button needs to be hit.
Maybe I'll do it this way and then we're ready.
Finding and exchanging accurate information at the right time is one of the key factors for businesses to succeed. However, the needed information can in many cases be hard to find, and the process of collecting data from different places is often time-consuming and laborious. Service facility information is being digitalized so that applicants can find information in a more user-friendly way. Within the current rail freight network, various players are seeking accessible and accurate information regarding rail-related service facilities for planning and operations. With the digital transformation of the transport sector, the access to open and transparent registers has become easier than ever before. Let's take as an example a railway operator that would like to open a new service between two European regions. Gathering information about service facilities related to these regions could take a very long time. The solution is the Rail Facilities Portal. The Rail Facilities Portal gathers information, thus connects the service facilities operators and their users. In the portal, users can access free detailed information about the access conditions on freight terminals, services offered at public and private sidings, shunting possibilities at marshalling yards, or capacities at a storage siding. On a map, all service facilities are displayed in a user-friendly way, with a detailed view and providing advanced search filters. Service facility operators can upload information about their facilities and promote their business, thanks to advanced upload functions. To facilitate the exchange of information, B2B services are created for large bulk uploads and downloads. The vision of the portal management is to make the Rail Facilities Portal a European business tool for information on as many rail service facilities as possible. The Rail Facilities Portal was developed by the European Commission, who handed it over to RailNet Europe. The portal is now co-financed by the European Commission and is managed by RailNet Europe representing the rail infrastructure managers, and UIR representing the combined transport and terminal operators.
Thank you. And this might have given you already a first experience, first insight on what Rail Facilities Portal is actually about. But of course, this was very much agglomerated in two and a half minutes. So, well, to talk about Rail Facilities Portal, the initial idea came from the European Commission, from DG Move, within all the actions that they're taking to establish the single European rail area. And one of those actions was actually to create a web portal that has all the information available for the terminals. Why this is important, or what the functioning of this is? Well, there are two very distinct areas. Of course, first of all, it's a compliance tool because you as terminals have a legal obligation to put on the information on a website, and ideally it was also thought that this would be very good to put it onto a portal instead of doing that on national websites. But I think most of you who are here are thinking of what's in for me, and to explain you that, well, it's a business tool, because what do you get with that? You get a broad audience, because most of the current, let's say, users are flipping through several web pages, national web pages. It's really hard to get all the information. And what Rail Facility Portal offers here for is that you have access to a European audience, not only actually to the national audience or the audience that might find you through the web page. And it's a real business tool, and would make also possible that you share your possibilities, your service information, your services which you're offering at this very site, and get out to a real great audience. What we did, we took over in June 2020 the ownership of Rail Facilities Portal from the Commission, and we are further developing it. And later on, also, we will give you an outlook how we're developing this and what else will be there, because there are a lot of exciting things coming up in future. Nevertheless, coming back to Rail Facilities Portal itself, as I said, beside being a compliance tool, it would be also a very excellent business tool, and I do very much hope that we can or we can convince you to upload your information also here. Well, coming just very short back to benefits. For service facility operators, I just said it. For the IMs, also very similar, because you are also getting a standardized surface where you can publish all the information. Regarding rail freight corridors, I will come to that as well, because it's not only just contributing to the achievement of the objectives, but of course also of having the really needed information at the tip of your hands as a COSS manager. The railway undertakings on the other side, so actually your customers, can access this information on a very easily accessible, and we will see that in the live presentation, which was done by my colleague Michael Spanlang, and on a digitalized surface. And you have all the service facilities by several search parameters there, which makes it, especially for your customers, really easy to plan the whole path, because most probably you might have more than one loading and unloading station along your way. And for shippers and freight forwarders, this is also part of the audience we're talking here about here. It's also a unique opportunity to identify, for example, business partners, to look whether your distribution lines and strategies are fine, or you need to adapt them with the help of the information you have it. And last but not least, of course, the regulatory bodies may also easier check the compliance with the obligation of publishing data, since also they do not have to flip through the web pages on the national web pages you might have already. Well, what did we achieve up to now? This might be the question here. We have currently over 19,000 service facilities already here across 16 member states in Europe. And we even have first European member state which has allowed Rail Facilities Portal to be recognized as a digital compliance tool. This is actually Italy, and we very much do hope that regulatory bodies will, in other countries as well, acknowledge this as an option, since the Rail Facilities Portal does include all legal mandatory fields which are needed to fulfill this obligation. We are also monitoring, since we took over in May 10th, how the usage of this portal is, and we are quite convinced that it's going up and up. We are having to now around 235,000 user interactions, which means people are looking at that. And we have been, by the way, also asking the users of the portal within a small market study, and we have seen that those who use it do actually save time between 1 and 2 hours. This is, I think, in our world, very important, since you really need to have working time for lots of assignments. Well, regarding the RFCs, if I only look at the RFC standpoint, the CSS manager has all the information at the hands, which is, I think, a very, very valuable thing, because you, as a CSS manager, I can quite well imagine you are getting a lot of questions from your customers, and instead of looking up all those informations at several places, you just would have to look at a web page of Rail Facilities Portal. You will be finding all the information here. This makes your life easier and planning, of course, even faster. But also the interested customers. So your customers can also by themselves access this information, because access to this portal and also the registration and also providing data is free of charge. This is also why it would be very much desirable that the service facilities on the corridors use this tool as a business tool, because we do think it's a very powerful business tool if you know about it, if you know how to use it, and getting more and more customers and business partners with the help of this portal. So the initiative, I think, is great. The tool is also very unique. I will be just now passing on the floor to Mateusz Nowak from the Union of International Intermodal Road and Rail Transport for a little bit showing us the situation today, what we have still in mind, and what are the tasks we are working on. Mateusz.
Thank you, Jean-Marc, for giving me the floor. Well, where we are standing, I will actually show you a little bit later on, after we have a live demo and the testimonials from the users. But we're definitely having some tasks to go through before we are actually reaching our long-term aim. So basically, what we have to do is still update a lot of information regarding all the facilities, and make sure that that the ownership of this data is taken over. So this is the main message, but I think it will be clear actually when we go back to when we go further with the current state of the situation, and I think we could move now to the live demonstration by Michael, so that we.
Okay. Thank you, Mateusz, for providing me the floor. Then I will take over. First of all, that you can see me, and secondly, I will share my screen. So we heard a lot of theory about Rail Facility Portal. So now let's face how Rail Facility Portal really looks like. So if you open the URL railfacilitiesportal.eu, this is how it looks like. As you can see, there's a first insert. It's just that we collect information about who is basically, which kind of users are basically calling up our Rail Facility Portal, but you can be sure Rail Facility Portal is free of any advertisement, no registration is needed, even though that the registration is useful. I will tell you later on why. And no dedicated user information is collected. We simply don't need it. So you can simply say, don't show this message again, and close it. Then you have the landing page of Rail Facility Portal in front of you. So how can you use it? First of all, you can zoom in and out. This is simply a map function. So let's zoom in. And you can also drag the map and also click on some of the circles where you can see all the more and more the service facilities until you land up at the service facilities, hopefully to the service facilities you are looking for. But if you do not know precisely where your service facility actually geographically is, you can look for it by example by typing in some service facility parameters. But there we have advanced criteria. We can say, by example, we are looking for, just a moment until we are looking, by example, for intermodal terminals. And then you only see the intermodal terminals. There are a lot of other criteria which can be combined. By example, I want to see the intermodal terminals just of, let's say, Germany. If you have registered yourself and you are always looking the same kind of search criteria, you can simply bookmark the search criteria, and later on I will show you where. You click on the name that you have given, and then the search criteria immediately is activated. As you can imagine, we have a lot of different search parameters. They can be combined in any way. So always again, typing in the same kind of service parameter, the time is time consuming, and this can be saved. So which kind I have, by example, I have here two search criteria bookmarked. So let's go to all service facilities all over Belgium. And here I can see also the different settings. By example, I want to see that whole the thing on the satellite, and I want to also to see the open railway map. And then I want to see how the service facility, where the service facility actually is. In reality, this is useful if you actually want to drive to the service facilities. If it's an intermodal terminal, some freight terminal, then it might be useful that you know where actually it is and how you can reach the service facilities. So let's go back. Normal gray, and switch off the open railway map. Okay. So basically you can see here, there's a clear all button. You can see here on the left side, there are all the search criteria you can use. And on the right side, there is a map legend with the type of service facilities and actually the list of service facilities which are actually found. Currently, you can see here the number. If you call up a rail facility, currently it's a little bit small, I know. we have 19,033 service facilities in our database, which is quite a lot. So on the above line, you can see some menu points. For example, the welcome message. This is, you have already shown that. We have bookmarked it, don't show it again. We close it. Then there is a news section. Then there is a about section that what Rail Facility Portal is about, and then we have supporting letters of a lot of members of the sector. We have simply the imprint, and we have a legal notice. If you want to send us any kind of information, we have here this email form. Simply fill in your name, your email address, that we can answer you, or simply phone you on by giving a phone number. You can also do categorize your message and then simply a message. And as you can see here, improvements. I'm handling Rail Facility Portal like an open source community. If you have any idea how to improve it, simply please tell us. We always have the possibility, if you want to improve the service facility, if you see a need for yourself, then we can simply realize and adjust Rail Facility Portal to your needs in adding the one or the other change request. I, as an administrator, have this admin button. You will not be able to see it because, well, I'm the administrator. Here you can see this question mark. The question mark is a little bit more important for you because this is the help desk section. You can see here user manuals and other helping documents, frequently asked questions, how-tos, and so on, all the supporting letters, the studies, and so on. And here, if you have registered, you can see here in this icon of a person, you can see your dashboard. For example, here the portal administration. If you are a member of an organization, you do not need to be a member of an organization, but if you are a member of an organization, you can see here a lot of information about your own service facilities. So let's go back to the main menu. We have to wait until all service facilities are shown. So let's go into the how does a service facility precisely look like. We can make it more easier. No, I have a bookmarked service facility because you can also bookmark service facilities. Let's see, by example, Antwerpen Haven. Okay. So you can see different sections. First of all, you can see general information about the service facility, which type of service facility is, who is the operator and how to reach him, and so on. You can see also which kind of services are provided, a closer description of the service facilities, also information on charges. If you want to use it, how much do you have to pay? How to access it, and some information about capacity allocation. And if you need, and there's also the possibility for additional links and documents that it might be useful for you. So later on, we will see a little bit more about the details. So the question is, how can we bring in data in Rail Facilities Portal? First of all, you simply go to your organization, if you are a member of an organization, and simply click on New Facility. And then you can enter the data of your service facility. This is useful if you're an owner just of one service facility. because then you can enter them once and service facilities do not change that often. The other thing is if you have a lot of service facilities, then for example, if you're a big infrastructure organization and you have dozens or hundreds of thousands of service facilities, then there is an Excel sheet, as you can see here, raw Excel sheet for use. Click on that, and you are downloading this Excel sheet. It should be here somewhere. Yes. And as you can see, this is the Excel sheet where you can enter all your data. And we have about 185 different data fields. Not all data fields are used for all kinds of services. For example, the length of a loading ramp is unimportant for a passenger station. There are just 4 data fields which are technically mandatory. For example, 2 fields for the geo coordinates, because we need to place them on the map, and the facility type and who is the owner. And you can fill in all this data. As you can see, there are a lot of fields. It takes quite some time. Later on, our colleague Asi Westin will tell you something about that. This huge bunch of dedicated information to collect at once might be a little bit laborious, but at the end you have a godlike overview about all the service facilities, and that's precisely what is requested by the market. We have been told that exactly this is what the market wants. And this is also what is described in the EU regulation. So let's go back. If you want to have a description about what is needed, the recommended version, then there are a lot of detailed information and examples how the information can be entered. But beside all of that, we have also the possibility to update the information via an electronic interface. We are already doing that with DB Netz AG. The interface of DB Netz AG is absolutely up to date because it's updated every night. So this is Rail Facility Portal at a glance. Do you have any questions about that? It's not that easy. It's not that complicated. But as we found out, this meets the legal requirements of the EU regulation, and this is what the market is requesting.
Thank you very much, Michael, for this live demonstration of the Rail Facilities Portal. And as I can see, the first hand raise comes from John Mark.
Yes, just a remark, of course. As just Michael told us, and Michael, I think we will be able to confirm this solution we have with DB Netz, of course, to handle this via an interface to an APN is of course possible for others as well. So this is something I just would like to highlight, because if you have like 15,000 or more, I don't know, service facilities, you will of course try for an automated solution. Yeah, but I just wanted to add that this is also of course possible for others as well.
If you want to connect to Rail Facility Portal electronically, the usage of Rail Facility Portal is free of cost. So there are no charges. This might be important for you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much for making this clear to us. And I see the next question comes from Martin Erlinger. Martin, go ahead.
Thank you. I have just put something in the chat. In parallel, I was a little bit surfing through the RFP, and I was very interested to hear that DBNet's data is regularly updated. One question concerning this. So if I see few gaps in the information, for example, for the DUS terminal at München-Riem, for quite a few, let's say, lines, there is no data available. That automatically means that also in their national system, there is no data available concerning a number of shunting tracks, maximum usable length. Now this is there, but there's a lot of no data available. Does that mean that if this is not available in the RFP, it is also not available nationally, as there is a regular data transfer, or how can I understand this?
This is a tricky question.
Yeah.
DBNetz AG did not create an interface just to update service facilities in Rail Facility Portal. It's a widely used interface. They call it the APN interface. The APN interface is just like the interface at Rail Facility Portal. It's a web service interface providing XML structures. And what we did is, and this was quite laborious, we mapped the XML tags to our XML tags. And sometimes some fields are simply not available on the APN interface. Additionally, so some fields cannot be filled because the information is not transport. We do not receive the information from DBNetz AG. Additionally, we can just update the information about service facilities which are simply transported via the APN interface. If this is a complete list of all service facilities owned by DBNetz AG, is something that we don't know.
Maybe just one addition. So there might be, since RFP isn't currently also in a phase where further developing, we're very much in contact with the infrastructure managers, how to get also this information where you might have the sentence "no data available" to make that available as well. So, but nonetheless, we're trying our best because we are still developing further on. I think we have reached already a very good status, but of course we need you, of course, as well as service facilities to provide us with the necessary information.
At ÖBB Infra, our contact person is Dr. Martin Munke, who is constantly working on improving the data set of ÖBB Infra. I guess you know him, isn't it?
No, I don't. But
he's the most accurate acting person I ever have met.
But thank you anyhow for providing me this information. And yeah, just to confirm that I think you're on the right track here and on the right way with further developing the tool. I've also given that kind of input into the let's say phone call to the consultant who spoke to me a few months ago. He probably also did with some other colleagues. And yeah, but I was getting curious when I heard that there is an interface. But I do understand now that there is a problem in transporting or transferring all the data through the interface. Yeah.
I guess once Mr. Munke has sent us all his data, he has simply collected all the data. He told us that he needs to summarize all the data out of a couple of different data sources. And once he has done all this work, the information is present, and afterwards I had an interview about a year ago with the, at that time, new boss of the IT department of ÖBB Infra, and he told me that he finds the possibility of having an electronic interface to his own system rather interesting, but he has to reorganize his own IT and this might take quite a time. So maybe now a year has passed by, I will phone him on again.
Okay, but the information you are now providing concerns ÖBB Infra, and
Yes.
the information before concerned DUS, I think.
AG.
So
DB Netz AG.
the terminal daughter of DB Netz AG, let's say.
Mark, you have muted yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Nevertheless, I think, and here I would like to speak out an invitation to all of you, because the solution of delivering automated data via an interface is something we do have and can make possible. So, of course, we are aware of the challenges if you have to collect the data out of different resources. But nevertheless, I think it's a really unique opportunity, and the earlier you make use of it, the best also for your business. Do you have any questions regarding what has been set up to now?
This doesn't seem to be the case.
Okay. Then we would like also to present you with two of the very many users of Rail Facility Portal who have made their own experience. First of all, I would like to give the floor to Ase Westin from Bane NOR in Norway. Ase, the floor is yours.
Thank you for providing me the floor and for inviting me to this meeting. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ase Westin. I'm working in Bane NOR as responsible for the network statements. And in connection with this work, I have been involved in the project service facilities, and then in the process of facilitating the structuring of the content from Bane NOR in the Rail Facilities Portal. From the perspective of an IM infrastructure manager, I can immediately state that the opportunity to collect, structure and publish information about the service facilities in such an international portal is very useful to us. This forces us to systematize our own infrastructure information that is spread across different channels. And in addition, there is a lot of silent knowledge in the organization that is now easier to secure and share with our customer. But this is a very extensive, laborious and new process work that requires resources internally and is time consuming. Bane NOR also has its own infrastructure database and systems that must be maintained and renewed. Therefore, we are in a phase where we must do a basic work that will make it easier to update infrastructure information in the long run. And this will increase the quality of our information in the Rail Facilities Portal. We have experienced that the user friendliness of the data capture itself can be improved. Even with good support from Rail Facilities Portal Manager, the large Excel sheet is not as intuitive to use. Here we see a potential for improvement and simplification. In the project phase, it is also important that the availability of support when it comes to various issues and topics in Rail Facilities Portal is good. Something we absolutely certainly experienced. Since the website of Rail Facilities per service facility is designed as a mini network statement, this may replace or clarify some of the information in the network statement. And at the same time, we have legal requirements to deliver the information in two languages, Norwegian and English. The information in Rail Facilities Portal coincides with our national requirements through the railway regulations, which makes it easier for us to meet the requirements of the legislation. We also see a number of advantages in Rail Facilities Portal being taken care of by RailNet Europe, where Bane NOR works closely together with other infrastructure managers through several different working groups. From a customer perspective, we see it as a great advantage that customers find the same information about service facilities in the various European countries. Besides that, we have the same railroad terminology and definitions for freight and passenger trains. This increases our market orientation at the same time as we appear transparent. Our task as infrastructure manager is to ensure that all railway undertakings, ADUs, have access to operate the railway network on open, fair, and non-discriminatory terms. So we look forward to the further development of Rail Facilities Portal. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Aze, for this testimonial and a very interesting insight of Bane NOR, how you see that. And with that, I would like to pass on the floor to Paul Kroneberger from CFL Terminal, as the other side of the AIL, namely terminal. And what are your experiences and insights into this? The floor is yours.
Yeah, hi. My name is Paul Kroneberger. I'm the Deputy Director of CFL Terminals, a railway facility or railroad terminal, intermodal terminal based in Luxembourg.
If I may intervene for a second, thank you, Paul, for being ready to showcase your terminal in Rail Facilities Portal. What I would like to mention here, because I find it very important, is that your terminal basically is one of few which at the moment complies with the European regulation. So basically, there are amount of fields within the portal that are obligatory to fulfill these requirements. And yes, it is the case that your terminal actually was able to provide all this data. So we thought that it would be really useful to hear your opinion and experience on how this process of getting there happened. And I would either suggest to maybe to share your screen, or if you prefer, I can share screen with your entry. You should be able probably to see it on the screen now, and you can basically tell us about different parts that for you were the most relevant from the terminal side, like which are actually the fields that you would like to maybe highlight as those that from the business side are important to express to your clients, but also as a user providing the data, which were the ones that were easier or maybe more difficult to upload and provide.
Okay, at the very beginning of the Rail Facilities Portal, I had a brief contact to Hakon. That was one of the companies that were in charge of developing the portal. This contact was due to other projects we had, or contacts we had with Hakon. When the portal was ready for use, and it went live, the first purpose was to be compliant to the new regulations. And during the creation of our account there, and your colleague Mr. Erlinger showed the creation process of the data set. There's a small field you have to click on, and you have to be compliant to the regulations, and if you click on it, data provision according to regulations, on the right side you see all the fields you have to go through and to fill in what is requested to be compliant. So it was a good help to be compliant, to create the account. That was, let's say, quite simple. There are some fields with a specific vocabulary. I had to check with my double check with my colleagues what is the meaning of that field and so on. But in general, it was quite easy to create the account. Yeah, that is the most important purpose in creating an account, to be compliant. The second important thing is to be found on the market, and there I have directly let's say an idea to improve the portal, to provide or to add a functionality like find the routing for freight forwarders, for railway undertakings, for intermodal operators. Today, where's my starting point where I load my unit and I have to go there to let's say Spain, and where's my entry point for me as a freight forwarder to take the train, and where's my exit point to pick up the unit nearby to my destination that I need. Yeah, so nearly all fields are filled. Sometimes I have a look into the portal to have, let's say, to do some small market studies, what's going on other terminals, in other countries. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of terminals who are compliant, even on their websites. Yeah, and that's my experience. Huh? So it was, for me, user-friendly. The guide to go through all the fields is quite clear for me, and it worked well. And it's updated. Huh?
This is the part that I was curious about, because I see that your entry, your record in the portal is really often updated. So that really means that a contact person, in this case you, as a registered user, really go to the dashboard and edit fields that might vary. Which are actually those that changes often, that needs more care on, let's say, monthly basis, or where the updates are actually needed?
Okay, the last update was due to an indexation of salaries in Luxembourg, and some fees has changed, so we had to update the charges document. Fees changed, so that was the main reason. Sometimes a presentation changes or some new details in kind of. We have a lot of projects in kind of digitalization. The gate process will be modified in the future. We currently we are working on the third gantry crane. All these things will request modifications in the portal and updates.
So basically, what changes the most are probably the PDFs with documents that you regularly upload. But then I believe that the description of the facility itself and the available service, they change not that often, obviously, because the terminal is changing, but it takes longer probably to.
Yeah, so equipment will change from 2 to 3 gantry cranes, but this will be the last change. 4 would be possible, but makes no sense. So we are in German we say Immobilie, so there are not a lot of movements. So if a service facility is in the portal, it doesn't mean that you have a lot of work afterwards with the portal, because the most of the data are stable, and there are some small fields or one document to be changed 2-3 times a year, perhaps not more.
I see that Michael has raised his hand, probably with a question to you, Paul.
Paul, my question is, do you issue also network statements?
No, we are mentioned in the network statement in Luxembourg that takes reference to our website and the rail facility portal.
The reason why I'm asking you is that within the next weeks, you might know that we have another tool named NCI, where we publish digitally all network statements. And within the next weeks, this project NCI is already existing. And in the project NCI, we are realizing in one of the next weeks a change request, where you can you can provide a link directly to the one or the other chapter inside the network statement and provide that link directly in Rail Facilities portal. Therefore, you do not need to provide the documents twice.
Perfect. So yeah, it would be nice to get some information or some links to the NCI tool.
Yes, if I just may add, for the part of the audience who might not be knowing what the NCI tools, because we just don't want to throw around the abbreviations in this meeting. It's a network. It's a digital version of the network statements, which have a common structure throughout Europe. And also the corridor information document regarding the RFCs, and you can access those chapters and information online. So this is also a tool which has been developed by RailNet Europe. And as just Michael told us, there will be this first interconnection between the Rail Facility Portal and the network statement, so you can just flip between the two. And I think very, very, very good thing, because as you will later on see in the presentation of Geronimo, we have far more in the pipeline. But before doing that, of course, I think it was a very interesting insight. And I think, Matthias, we can move on maybe to the next phase, which would be your part.
I would still hope that maybe there are some other voices that would like to share their experience, or maybe there are questions to our previous testimonies. If there are some, we'll be really happy to hear or to open discussion for some time to exchange a little bit more the information and basically the experience. This is probably the best moment if there are many users of Rail Facilities Portal with us and many data providers. I believe it would be great to basically hear your feedback as well, if there are any other questions.
As far as I can see, we have a question coming in from Martin Erlinger via the chat. This concerns the status of connecting the Rail Facilities Portal information with the locations in the train information system of RailNet Europe. Martin, would you like to elaborate more on that?
Not necessarily. I think the question is clear. Hopefully, I just raised my hand in case the, let's say, question in the chat was not found, but you saw it. Yeah, I'm interested because in one of the recent rollouts of RNE TIS, the latest editions, the feature is now visible, and it was announced to connect the let's say as you can see on the picture in the chat, to connect with a hyperlink the location in RNE TIS with information behind that location in the rail facility portal. But most of the test clicks I have done just went to empty pages, and I'm curious how you will proceed with that.
Thank you very much for highlighting this important aspect. I mean, in general, all the links which we have are intended via the big data concept, and later on we have scheduled a presentation on that. What is the future of rail facilities portal under the big data and railway information system? So we can either save the question for later, or let me see if any of my colleagues would like to react already now to that.
Maybe I can answer that.
Michael, go ahead.
Yes, if you address, we have actually a function where without any registration and any paying a fee, any fee, you can retrieve information, service facility information out of a rail facility portal. Therefore, you need to precisely identify the service facilities, and we are doing that via the primary and the subsidiary location keys, because that's what they are good for. And unfortunately, our data provider, not all data providers provided a primary and or a combination of a primary and subsidiary location key. So if you are looking for a service facility via a link, and there is no underlying service PLC stored, the link will fail, even though that the service facility itself is existing in Rail Facility Portal. Does this answer your question?
So this is a plea or a request to your members to provide primary or subsidiary location codes for all the locations. Okay, I can just support this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you a lot.
And Jean-Marc, you would like to add to this?
Yes, it's not only a plea, but it's also an invitation to all the interested service facilities. Please feel free and to contact us, because what we can do also to hold a dedicated small webinar for you, how to use, how to register, how to enter your information. Even we can find solutions if you have a greater amount of data, as just was mentioned, the interface. So please just come up to us, because it's in your hands then that you are displayed in a way that you are searchable, findable by this very great European audience. So it's also an invitation to come forward to us, and we are ready to adapt to your needs.
Thank you very much, Jean-Marc, for this addition. I see in the chat we have another question from Alessandra Libardo from Porto Venice. And this question is about the relationship between the Rail Facilities Portal and the customer information platform of the rail freight corridors. Again, this is very much aiming at the future interconnection of RNE's IT systems and their integration in the railway information systems, which we will talk about later on. But let me now use the opportunity that I'm, among others, also responsible for the customer information platform at RailNet Europe, to give you a first answer from the CAP perspective. So what CAP stands for, it's Information One-Stop Shop of the Rail Freight Corridors, so gathering all the information relevant for customers along the rail freight corridors. And this encompasses also the information about the last mile infrastructure and service facilities, which are typically the intermodal terminals along the routes of the rail freight corridors. If you consider this, this aspect of CAP, the intermodal terminals, is actually what CAP and the Rail Facilities Portal would have in common. So the service facilities in Rail Facilities Portal would encompass much more than just the intermodal terminals. There would be many more facilities type. But if you look at this specific facility type, so the intermodal terminals along the rail freight corridors, it's what both application aim at, provide the information to the customers. And of course, there is a room for synergies in that. So if we find a good, reliable way how to collect and keep the information about this type of service facilities up to date in Rail Facilities Portal, it is our plan that CAP can also benefit from this and link itself to the information which is in Rail Facilities Portal. But as said, we will elaborate on this in more detail later on. Alessandra, did this answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Could you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Just a following question is, so in both the portal, you need the information only for what concern intermodal terminal. Is this correct? Because in the Port of Venice, we have a lot of terminals that deal with other sort of cargo, not intermodal.
Okay, maybe I have to correct myself a little bit. Of course, it's the freight corridors are about cargo in general. So also general cargo terminals are very much welcome. So maybe focusing that much on intermodal terminals was not correct. It's about all type of cargo terminals. To be more.
So I can ask my port terminal to fill your portal also for other freight.
Definitely.
Bulk, liquid bulk, dry bulk, and so on.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes. So really, again, an invite to all of you. It's a unique chance to use, I think, here, and the best of it, if it's really free of charge, both to data providers and users. So we are really happy for terminals joining in. I think this really enriches Rail Facility Portal. Thank you for that.
Here, if I may add to your question, Alessandra, as you heard, you're very welcome, obviously, to include your facilities in the portal. And for a second, I was showing the category of this type of facilities that you should basically choose. It's a multifunctional terminal that is connected to rail, obviously. So it's not only intermodal terminal in this case, as Miroslav was mentioning, but also multifunctional terminals. But as you see, there are also many others type of facilities in which you can actually fit in.
Sorry, if I can have just only another question. Is from your point of view, is better if every single terminal will register and fill information, or in the case of ports, it's better if we taking care everything because we manage the railway district, and so we are the interface. We have to be the interface with you, or what do you prefer?
If I may take it, what's the most important is actually to make it easy for you to provide the data. So if you prefer a more centralized way, which I believe might be actually more difficult, then of course you're free to do that. In the portal, it is possible to have various organizations for the same user. So basically, if you are involved in the management of different facilities, and those facilities actually are owned by different organizations, it is possible technically. So basically, you can create different organizations and B user that will be updating the data for these entries under different profiles. So it doesn't have to be centralized, but it can be as well. So it's up to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, I think this is an important thing. Just what you said, Mateusz. We can adapt, of course, to the individual needs, and we have more options for data upload. So really do come forward to us, and we're happy to discuss that together with you. That's why we're here, and why the portal is here to really be the unique #1 address for service facilities.
And with that being said, as I see no further questions, let us conclude this first part of our session where we introduced the Rail Facilities Portal, provided a live demo, collected some user experience. So thank you, Jean-Marc, Michael, Asse, and Paul for that. We have already now touched some important aspects of the portal, such as the automated interfaces for provision of data, achieving of legal compliance, but also the relations to other customer front-end applications, such as the customer information platform, but also relation to other applications such as this. With that being said, let us move to the next sub-item, the next intervention which we have scheduled, and this would be the showcase of current situation and the strategy for data collection, which would be presented to us by Mateusz. Mateusz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Miroslav. Well, I would like to repeat maybe an appreciation of the testimonials that we had before, because these are the really stories that show that it is possible, and that actually is also valuable for you to do it. And here we will maybe show it also from the other side, where the still job needs to be done, with mostly focus on intermodal terminals and multifunctional terminals. So basically, what is on the focus for UIRR data collection strategy, or better assistance within this data collection, because as you know, the portal is designed in the way that it's the facility operator itself that should provide the data. We are here though to assist you and help you providing it or reaching you if needed. That's why we have this call today. To have some background on how we're planning to do it. At first, when we launched the portal, we used, let's say, a beta data set that would show a little bit how portal can be used, how the search filters function. So we uploaded a bunch of facilities that you can still find online, and they are the ones that are being signed by UIRR and SJKV. So, for example, the example that we just saw from this terminal is one of the case that was uploaded in 2019, but still not uploaded. I will get a little bit more in the details with that later. And basically, we're moving to the second step that we're in right now. So trying to make sure that all the terminals located on the rail freight corridors are first in the portal already, and second, that are hand over to the data owners, basically, so that there is registration of each organization, making sure that the data is up to date and validated. So this is where we are right now. Then after that, the third step will be basically to open for more and looking further than at the rail freight corridors. I would like to bring some numbers on how it looks right now. Basically, the data comes from 2 days ago, so it's quite updated. I have a list here of different rail freight corridors where you have two columns: the registered terminals and the updated. Shortly, we'll explain what it means. The registered terminals are the ones that you can already find on the rail facilities portal. So basically, on, let's say, Rail Freight Corridor 4, the Atlantic line, you have 34 terminals registered, meaning there is some data provided there, but most of them are actually from the upload that I was just mentioning before, done in 2019. And then you can actually see that only 9 out of this 34 that exist on the portal were updated, meaning only these 9 were actually taken by the facility operator. This is basically to show how far we are from the situation that we wanted to reach. So we really need to make sure that you will take over all the facilities and start controlling them, because as you see, for many of them, basically most of the data comes from us, not from you, as it should be. Simple conclusion: we need you really to update the data. What should be done in this case? Basically, the first step is obviously to register. So all these operators should first register their organization, and then we'll be able to include all the missing terminals, because there are some. Coming back to this slide, you see that at some corridors there are really few terminals registered already. So it means that there's a still huge space for new records to be included and uploaded. And then, of course, there are also terminals that need to be updated. Then the other step that is important is also to improve the data and the quality of it, meaning how many fields are actually filled, and ideally to reach the point that we fulfill it with the obligation that that we just shown during the testimony from CFL, which is the case that complies with the regulation. So basically fulfilling all the obligatory fields that are required to fulfill with this data set. This is our aim. How can Rail Freight Corridor support us with that? Well, we can be present at the RACTAC meetings. We are already partially, but we are willing to be present there more, to hear more experiences that are either positive or negative. We're very open to basically be there for you to make sure that that is possible to either adjust somehow or assist you to get where we need to get. The other point is also to maybe linking the Rail Freight Corridors websites with Rail Facilities portal. We can also organize dedicated webinars that Jean-Marc just mentioned. So we are really open for your propositions as well on how to improve and how to get where we aim. Michael already gave us short demonstration, so I'm not gonna repeat those points, but there are basically a few steps that are very important to reach the very base. So basically each organization needs to register, meaning sign up and choose the organization. These are the very first steps. And then after that, you will be able to either change request of the facility that already exists, or basically upload a completely new facility, adding it and fulfilling all the fields one by one. Here, I'm just showing the case where actually you need to fulfill the mandatory fields. So basically the very basic, just to be able to publish the basic data set. But there's also an option to have the data provision according to the regulation as we shown before, and then the list is way longer. So it's more challenging, but then you're sure that actually your facility is compliant with the regulations. There's also what Michal already mentioned, a very useful link for all the manuals and other links. So we invite you to check that section in case if you need. And basically that's it on the current state. If there are some question, I'll be happy to answer or maybe provide you with more information.
And maybe a small remark. Of course, all what you've seen today, we will be make available to you. So you will have this presentation, for instance, also at your hands.
Thank you very much, Mateusz, for showcasing us the current situation, and also Jean-Marc for mentioning this. It was actually on my to-do list in the beginning of the conference, but good yet you highlighted it. The presentation which you are seeing will be shared with you after the session. Okay, are there any questions to what we have just seen and heard from Mateusz? Also, thank you very much. Coming back to this a little bit provocative figures.
Exactly. I put this because I believe that this might wake up a little bit discussion. Maybe there are some points that basically raise some questions and doubts.
So maybe to warm up the discussion here a little bit. Some of the figures are really surprising. Let's take a look at the youngest of the corridors, the Alpine Western Balkan. Okay, there we see just 3 terminals registered, which is really low even in comparison to the other ones. So I understand that the registration is step 1, which is then in ideal case followed by the step 2, the updating, that the service facility operator takes over the ownership and responsibility for updates. But what is the process for the registration and for this first step? So we see in some cases we have nearly 100 terminals per corridor. In this case, just 3. So what's the path to this?
So here maybe I should clarify a little bit this 2 words that in fact sound the same, but actually come from different side. When I mention here register terminal, it's not really the user, which I'm showing here on how to register. It's not really that. It's really what we can find on the map right now and in the search filters. So these are the entries that exist in the database, but it doesn't mean that these terminals are actually registered themselves. So the case of the rail freight corridors 10, in fact, since it's young, it didn't have so many entries in the database from SGKV and UIRR. So that's the reason why also they didn't at first appear in this, let's say, test data set that we uploaded to showcase a little bit the functions of the terminal. So this is actually where it comes. But what is in fact more important is the second column when you see the updated terminals, because this is where we really show how many facilities are being taken over and controlled by the facility operators. It's just to show that, however, you see a lot on the map already when you filter by intermodal terminals, for example. These terminals are there, but when you dig in the details of the entries, you will see that they are not really updated, and that's why I'm trying to show that we're really far on this update exercise that needs to be done now.
So thank you very much for this enlightenment. So what I see really this could be the right platform to actually activate this process via the terminal advisory groups of individual rail freight corridors, of taking charge actually of the terminals along the corridors themselves, right?
Absolutely, yes.
I don't stop promoting the rail freight facilities portal and the RNE TIS for terminals. So I do my best.
Thank you.
But in these times, it's not easy to get all the partners around the table.
No, I still don't see any hands raised, so this is the last call to react to this part of our presentation. Maybe also if there are any comments from our teams.
Since there's some hands raised right now.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for that. It wasn't visible to me. Jean-Marc, you were first, and then we will proceed with Sandra.
Yes. In general, I want to say that also I'm looking at this list also in a positive way, because we have, if you look at this, quite a lot of terminals which have been contributed from the RFCs. Why it is important for the RFCs, actually, most of the traffic, even that traffic which may not be allocated by the corridor one-stop shop, is running on Europe on these very lines, because these very lines are reflecting most of the 10T lines in Europe, the Trans-European network lines, and that's why it's important that on these lines we have complete data sets and as many terminals as possible. On the other hand, for you as terminals, you get really to a broad audience. First of all, being in RFP. Second, of course, being also displayed on an RFC, because this will be then also linked. This is also why we're asking for linking RFP to the websites of the rail-fed corridors. So I'm really looking optimistic at this list and hope that we will have in let's say next year much larger numbers here.
Thank you, Jean-Marc, for this encouraging and also for this positive preview. Now I think the next one was Sandra Ferrari. Sandra, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm from Railway Corridor 5, Baltic Adriatic. I'm the new Corridor One-Stop Shop Manager. Let me just say that at RFC 5, we are very much supportive of this process, and we are working with our TAG members in order to explain this process. And I think it's very important now to explain in a better way that it's important to raise awareness also by our side that the railway facility operators should be the owner of the data. So of course, UIRR proceed to register what they know, but at this point in time, it's very important from our side to explain to operators that they should be the owner of the data. So we will engage, of course, in order to proceed in this way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for.
Thank you, Sandra, very much for your support. And I think it's really essential that we team up here together, the corridors and RNE and UIRR, to organize this jointly. And I see also today we have strong presence from your corridor, which is very much appreciated. So I'm also hopeful that in some times from today, we will see these figures in a much better shape along Corridor Baltic Adriatic and the other corridors as well. For moving ahead, I've noted we had one more question in the chat. This was about the multilinguality of the tool. If we want to introduce or if there are any plans for introducing different languages than English for the Rail Facilities portal. So I don't know who's the best one to answer this, Jean-Marc or Michael?
I can take it. Unless
Mateusz, then it's yours.
We did already plan to do multifunctional version of the portal when we were prioritizing the words that would make the portal more user-friendly. It was important, but not as important as other functions that we put at first. Within the change requests that we've done and presenting new features. Although here it partially opens the discussion for the further developments that will take part within the RIS project, about which we're gonna talk very soon or even now. That's our next agenda item for this meeting. So I believe there we can talk about it more precisely. I also see that Michael raised his hand, so maybe he would like to add something to that answer. Michael?
Multilinguality has different aspects. First of all, we do not intend generally automatically to translate any data or documents provided by data providers, because we cannot guarantee for the correctness, and it's the data of the data providers. But as a first step, we provided the possibility, we expanded the functionality of Rail Facility Portal, as there can be a lot of documents be stored to store the same documents in different languages. So if you want to store a document in 5 different languages, this is possible. The translation of the Rail Facility Portal itself, of the software and the interface and all texts that can be seen in different languages, will be done in the next generation project, where we will tell you something about later on.
Thank you, Michael. And to conclude, Jean-Marc?
Yes, I think this was actually also the core of this very question, especially the user interface. I assume that whether that will be available, and with that, I think, Milos, we have a nice continuation and a lead to the next topic. I think Geronimo will be more than happy to elaborate on this. But Milos,
I couldn't agree more. So thank you very very much for this bridging. And Geronimo, we have now heard
yes,
quite a number of teasers.
Yes,
towards
I will try to be up to the expectations of of my presentation. Okay. Sure, just as a continuity to what you were saying, just to confirm that in this new system that will take over Rail Facility Portal in the future, one of the functionality that is included in the requirement of for the development of the system, it is include the multilingual, the user interface option to have as many languages as we want. So that part will be covered in this application. Okay, for those of you that never heard about the Railway Infrastructure System, RIS, it will merge the data and functionality of 4 of the existing systems that currently deal with infrastructure data in RNE. So as you can see in this slide, we in 2017 we implement the big data framework. Until that moment, every business applications that we had in RNE, these are a few of them. I will mention them that just in case that you don't know. Well, of course, CIP, what has been mentioned, the Customer Information Platform, TCR, and TIS, the Traffic Information System, CIS, Charging Information System, PCS, the Path Coordination System. Each of them, they had their own infrastructure information. So in 2017, a new system was developed that it was GeoEditor that provides the infrastructure data to all of these business applications. Since then, all of these business applications have been using the same infrastructure, common data, and this GeoEditor application, it's already connected with CRD. CRD is the Common Reference File database that includes the location reference files, includes the country codes, and as well the company codes. It's regulated, so and GeoEditor use is connected to CRD. Also, in GeoEditor, we include some of the information from the corridor definition. So we have layers that currently CIP is using to show the infrastructure information. And now in RNE, we are taking a step forward in this infrastructure data, but by integrating the data and functionality of two other systems, being Rail Facility Portal one of them, and the other one, the rest of the information that is currently isolated in CIP. So if we go to the next slide, you can see that we have a ground topology layer which will provide all the infrastructure information that is currently isolated in these four systems. So we have CRD, as I mentioned, GeoEditor that connects the locations. We have CIP with the corridor information, and we have Rail Facility Portal. How are we going to connect? For example, if we center in Rail Facility Portal, currently the service facility, and it was mentioned before, is very important to have in every service facility a primary location code or the combination of primary location code and a subsidiary location code, because this will allow us to connect it with the rest of the systems and be used by all the business applications. So this RIS application will provide a ground topology that will contain the data of all this information. We are creating a new data model that will contain all this information. And what is for use to you, this will allow, for example, something that it was mentioned before, that in CIP you can see the service facility portal information that is currently not able to be shown because they are isolated. So once we have this ground topology, added functionality could be provided to the users of every platform, of every portal and every RNE business application. So above, very quickly above this ground topology, we will have another layer which is dealing with the capacity, and we have several applications that lets the IMs provide the capacity information. Above this capacity based on topology layer, we will have the next layer, which is the capacity allocation. We will allow the RUs to request this capacity provided by the IMs. We have several tools already developed and other tools under development that will allow our use for annual requests through short-term request. And then above all this, we will have the train running with and we have the TIS application. So through all these four layers, you can see a business case that will benefit from to having the Rail Facility Portal information connected to it. For example, for TCR, for the capacity restriction, temporary capacity restriction application that is being developed, it will be interesting to know what service facilities will be at their disposal in the route. If in CIP, if you want to have a route planning depending on the types of service facilities that you will have in that path, then it will be very helpful for a big number of business cases. So that's why one of the reasons we are building these new applications. You can see in the next slide some of the goals that we have with the development and operation of this application. We will replace 4 existing systems, merging their data and functions into a consistent entity. This provides with a single access point for all this information, so you don't have to go to 4 different applications to obtain the same information, and it allows for crossing of data between systems in the future. Of course, it would lower the operation and managing costs not only for RNE, but as well for the data providers. So you will not have to provide, for example, the terminals. There are some terminals that are uploaded in both CIP and Rail Facility Portal. So in this case, it will be only one application to deal with. This is maybe it's not related to Rail Facility Portal, but this is a very important reason why we are doing this application is to increase the granularity of the representation of the network. We are currently offering only a macroscopic representation, and with in this new system we'll be able to accommodate the track information. This will be very important also as well with the connection with the RINF application, which is managed by IRA, and they already have a lot of track information. So instead of asking the IMs to provide this information, we want to take it from RINF. Another thing that we want to work in this system is and I think it was mentioned by previous participants, it's to increase the automatization of data supply process. Some of these systems, and Rail Facility Portal is one of them, they rely in templates to maintain and provide the information, or even manually through the web user interface. There was a very success story with DBNet's interface, and we want to follow that path by creating more interface with the possible use of other data exchange formats, which will be from well-known text, GeoJSON, or even RailML standard. So we allow as much tools as possible to the IMs to provide the IMs and in your case owners of terminals to provide the information in an automatic way. And of course, we must fulfill all the legal requirements that all these current systems carry with them. So if we see the future state of RIS, we can see that we are building a backend application that the data consumers that you can see below, which could be the business applications from RNE, or could be any other railway sector application that wants to have the infrastructure data. We will build this system, and it's important to mention that each of the integrated systems will retain their presentation layer, maybe not the same presentation layer that they currently have, but they will have independent URLs so they can connect to their own data. And initially they will have their own data and their same functionality that they currently have, plus a few more of them that we already discussed, and they were already included in the requirements for the data for the supplier of the application. But it will be independent from each other. So the users of Rail Facility Portal will interact with their own application, and they will feel like they have an independent system. But in the back end, they will share the data model with other systems, and this will increase the data available to them and will facilitate the interchange of data between them. And of course, it's important the connection with the RINF database that will allow to get a lot of information that is currently there, but we don't have access now. We have just ended the tender phase of this system. We are going to start development. We have selected a supplier, and we are starting the development this week. So the roadmap for this system will be to have it hopefully in operation by the second semester of 2023, and we will end the current versions of the systems, and gradually we will go live with the presentation layers of each of the systems. So we believe that this will be an improvement not only for Rail Facility Portal, but also for all the rest of the business of RNE business applications. So if you have any questions regarding this project, yeah, Jean-Marc.
Yes, so thank you for the very exciting presentation, actually, because if we look into, we're not talking about the music of the future, but this is actually at our doorsteps. And just imagine that the users of this system will be able to access, for instance, capacity restrictions, knowing where your train is from the train information system, knowing what the charge is for using the infrastructure, and for the planners of the past using the PCS, and all this and RFP will be intercommunicating with each other, which I really find exciting, because for such a very diverse sector like railway, this is the first time, I think, that we create something like this Europe-wide. So I'm really looking forward to this, very optimistic. And Geronimo, I think you will have great challenges ahead. I think all of us at RNE, but I think that this is the first unique system which will really not only describe, but really have a user-friendly access to European rail infrastructure. So thank you for presenting that.
Yeah, one more thing I want to add is that it was mentioned before, but it's very important for the terminals and for the service facilities to have a primary location code, because it's the way of connecting with the rest of the TAP TSI entities. Of course, if there's no PLC, the users of Rail Facility Portal will still be able to work with those service facilities. But if there's no PLC, we don't have a way of connecting it with other entities or other applications. So if you have to do something, I will focus on the completeness of this PLC field for your terminals.
Thank you very much, Geronimo, for this insight into the future. So building up on what also Jean-Marc said, the future is actually at our doorstep. The future seems or might be a little bit challenging for the applications manager inside, but the future seems very bright for the front end users, so for the customers. And the front end of the applications will have much more up-to-date data, much more linked data, and with that, I'm quite confident that we are well headed to provide more added value via the applications than we do today. So very much looking forward to this future. And with that being said, are there any questions to Geronimo or to any of my colleagues? Anything what we have heard today? Well, Since that doesn't seem to be the case, that would make me conclude that we covered this topic very well today. And I would like to thank everyone for their participation, for taking the time to join us today, also for the active feedback. And last but not least, to all the speakers for sharing this information with us. So thank you all for participating today. If you have any questions afterwards, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, to reach out to my colleagues. As emphasized many times today, there is a lot of willingness to support you, to guide you through providing your data in the Rail Facilities portal, both on the sides of RNE as well as on the side of UIRR. So don't hesitate to come back to us. That will be very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.